Well, it started in 1995 when we found out we were pregnant for the first time, and we went for our 17-week ultrasound, found that the baby had multiple anomalies, a lot of problems that were not compatible with life, and so the doctor discussed with us,
what options there were, and we actually had, I guess, the weekend to think about it. Then obviously as we prayed and asked God, kind of to give us some sort of direction, He provided that to us when we went to the next consult when the baby was no longer living, and we had at that point go into the hospital. And Deanna actually had to deliver that baby at 18 weeks, which for your first child, you're so excited, and you have all of these dreams and things for that little baby that you haven't touched yet. That's a hard thing to do. It was a difficult time. So that baby was born deceased, and
like an 8 or 9 week ultrasound. Actually, we went like at 5 weeks. I heard the heartbeat, and went back 8 weeks. They're like, oh, everything's great. And your 5 or 6 week appointment, they listen to the heartbeat. Then back at 8 weeks, and of course they told us that there was no heartbeat. So I had to go in the hospital and have a D&C, and so that was in '97. After that one, it was anger started a little bit. I was very angry with God, and I think Andy was too. It was a really, really hard time, and then I got very depressed over all of it, and then through all the depression and all that, you just really turned to God. It seems like that's when we seemed like we really, really turned to God. But I was mad at Him, but yet I knew that I didn't have any other hope but to go to Him. And I guess both of us, our relationship grew so much more then together as a couple, but as well as towards God. And so then we decided we were going to build a house, and I got pregnant again. That was in '99. I lost that one. After the third miscarriage, we went to see a reproductive endocrinologist, a specialist.
Yeah, which is a specialist, and he this whole time you just kind of have this sense that something's wrong with you. You're doing something wrong. I can even remember having feelings. Is God punishing me? Is He mad at me for something? What is it? Is it something that I'm needing to learn out of this, or really what's going on? There's a lot of questions that you have. But we went to the specialist, and it was promising. He suggested what he thought we should do. So we ended up getting pregnant again.
Yeah, that was the fourth pregnancy.
That was the fourth.
We got pregnant for the fourth time.
And people that don't have kids don't quite understand what it's like to go into that ultrasound, and you're expecting to see the little hands and the face. You're expecting to see all these little things, but man, every time that we went for an ultrasound was like terrible. Stomach and knots, and just literally kind of cold sweat. It was just, you were just expecting the worst, but the whole time on the before and on the ride over to the doctor, you're just praying, God, just let this work, but the whole time we were praying that it would be God's will. We didn't want to be outside of God's will. We definitely didn't want to do that, but we just wanted that little baby as a part of our family to make us a whole family, I guess, is maybe the thought. But anyway, we were pregnant again.
Yeah, we went for the fourth time. Again, between 8 and 10 weeks, went for an ultrasound. Again, he said, I'm really sorry, but another death. The baby had died. So, at that point, we were just like, after everything was taken care of, we were like, I just think it's time to adopt. I was done. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Emotionally, physically, I just didn't want to do it anymore. So we had started looking into some adoption things, and
we had asked a couple people in the church that had adopted on giving a little bit of guidance maybe on what they did and the process and that kind of thing. So we were really starting that process both emotionally and I guess physically.
So we had an appointment to go to Greenville Hospital. They were having some kind of adoption seminar or something in May. And I'd put that down, and then we ended up getting pregnant again. And go in, the doctor's like, you know, he said, I think you've got what's called a blighted ovum, which basically means that the baby's not going to form. He said, so more than likely you're going to miscarry. Over the weekend, this was Easter weekend of '01.
So this was Good Friday.
This was Good Friday we went in. And so, you know, of course, I was so upset. I mean, Andy was too. But I was so angry. I remember Easter Sunday. I remember coming home from church and from your mom's. I was so mad that I just wanted to throw things. I was just angry. So anyway, he said, you know, if you don't miscarry by Wednesday, go ahead and come back in. We'll have another appointment. So we go in Wednesday, and a friend of mine said, why don't you let me go with you? Because Andy couldn't come. And I said, no, I mean, I know the routine. I know what they're going to say. We need to schedule you to go in the hospital and all that. So she said, well, just let me go with you. So she went, and we're sitting there, and I'm getting the ultrasound, and she has this big tear come down her face. And I was, you know, I tried not to look at her because I thought, you know, I don't want to cry either. Well, there was a heartbeat. They saw the heartbeat, and that's Sophie Grace. That's our 5.5-year-old. So that was a blessing.
So I get a phone call after all of that. And the time I'm not there, it was at every other thing. I get a phone call. Well, we saw a heartbeat. I'm like, what? You know, I'm like, wait a minute, did I hear right? You know, yeah, we saw a heartbeat. You know, and Deanna was happy and laughing and all that kind of thing. So I always thought that was odd. That was the only ultrasound that I never got to go to. You know, every time. I mean, it seems like in telling this we kind of skipped over when Sophie was born, but you know, after all of that, it was when Sophie was born. I'll never forget this. It was Sophie's delivered, and the doctors and all that stuff's going on in the room, and they lay Sophie down on the little heating tray or whatever you call that thing. Bassinet, thank you. But it's a heating tray. You know, we're at McDonald's or something like that. But anyway, lays her down, and she's crying, just wailing. And Deanna rolls over and says, Sophie Grace, it's your mommy. And as soon as she does that, she just stops. Just quits crying. And that sticks in my mind. I don't really know exactly why that sticks in my mind, but the next thing I remember is holding Sophie, and then just all of that, years of trying to get to this point and just praying for God and all of the people that were behind us praying for us and just crying out to God, begging God, just let this happen. And God led us along the path. He got us to the doctor that knew what to do. He got us on the medication that Deanna needed to be on, and He made everything happen. We don't discount that one iota. And when I was holding little Sophie, I mean, just crying like I was a little kid. The nurse is still trying to talk, and I'm just like, you're gonna have to give me just a minute. But I'll never forget that. I mean, I was the same way with the other girls, but it was all of that coming up to Sophie being born, being the first, and going through all those trials. That was very special, and was the answer to a lot of prayers. And ultimately, I that's what got us there, was all of the prayers. If we didn't have that, if we didn't have friends, church members, family supporting us through prayers, through just encouraging words, through books. People gave us books and shared their testimonies with us about having some of the same issues. I don't know how we would have gotten to this point. I don't know how. I do not know how somebody gets through things like that without God on their side. I don't know how they do it. It boggles my mind for some. It pains me for somebody to have to go through that without my God to lean on. Hi, we're the Gibsons.
And this is our journey story.